Hey, good evening, everybody. We started a little bit late, but it will be worth it because we have our guest Eric Kruger, head coach at Pickerington Central, lined up, and the Division I state champs. Looking forward to hearing all about their win over Centerville in the boys' state basketball tournament. We've got, I wish we had better news to talk about with Ohio State baseball. We've got Thad Matta back in college basketball. We've got a transfer from Wright State to Ohio State, and as we see, we got our friend Lyle Sonny Folks right beside me. Hello, Mr. Folks.
Mr. Folks is here on duty tonight. Another cold, wet, beautiful April night in Ohio. So for all you kids out there trying to play baseball and softball tonight, I feel for you, kids.
Yeah, it's a rainy night. I don't know if it is in Georgia, but it is here for sure. So Coach Kruger of Pickerington Central will join us shortly. We're getting some tech things straightened out with Eric, and when he gives us the thumbs up, we'll bring him on. He was going to switch from his laptop to his cell phone. So we want to thank everybody for joining us. And we want to remind you, as the scroll does at the bottom of the screen, that you can win a $50 gift card from our friends at Lehman's Old Time General Store by winning our monthly giveaway. Here is the gift card. Mr. Folks has the first month gift card. He's going to award that to our winner, who just happened to be a resident of Covington. And so you can get in and win our April gift card. We've given away February. We've given away March. April is on the docket right now. Send us an email, pressproscontest@gmail.com, pressproscontest@gmail.com. That's really all you need. You can put your name and address in there if you want to, but I'll have your name and I can contact you if you win. So we appreciate you patronizing our friends at Lehman's. And when you do, use the promo code PressPros10 to get 10% off all the great merchandise at Lehman's. So before we get to all the things that we have to talk about in the college basketball world, before we talk about the college baseball world and Ohio State and what is going on with the Ohio State Buckeyes, let's relive the triumph of the Pickerington Central Tigers in their Division I state tournament a couple weeks ago in Dayton. We were there. We covered it with our Steve Blackledge, and we welcome Eric Kruger, the head coach of the Pick Central Tigers, to the show. Eric, congratulations, man. Have you come down off your high yet?
Getting there. It's been a great couple weeks, and I've had a lot of people reach out to me, really from back home in Dayton and then all throughout Ohio. It's been awesome. Not sure if quite off the high yet, but it's been a great experience, and just excited we were able to kind of complete the job there and win the state title and bring it back to Central Ohio and Columbus area.
I would imagine that couldn't have worked out better for you than to have the Final Four in your hometown there in Dayton. I know you went to Chaminade, I did see the number of people post game that were there to greet you and congratulate. And tell me a little bit about what that was like to be able to be in Dayton for that particular event.
I'll tell you, it's just a blessing to be in Dayton. Obviously, growing up in Dayton, going to Chaminade Julienne in high school, and just, going to having my mom less than 10 minutes away from the Comfort Inn Suites in Englewood, Ohio, there off of 70, where our team stayed, was a big help. Having someone help us do the laundry and go run out and get some food for us, and then just being so familiar with the area. Driving, getting on the bus and, driving down to the arena and just kind of knowing where you're going was, just kind of felt like being at home, obviously. So that was definitely unique and definitely, it was pretty cool. I mean, we've been to state in 2017, 2018 at the Schottenstein Center. I thought, so it was kind of cool to go out of town as opposed to just kind of being in Columbus there from Pickerington. Obviously, it's only, 20 minutes or so away from the Schottenstein Center. So I think going on the road and it felt like more of a bigger deal in a way. So that was really cool. And it was just a great experience for the kids.
I watched your team play, and when I saw you play defense, and I'm over in the western part of the state. I'm not in Central, like Steve Blackledge is, but when I saw you play defense, it looked to me like Joe Staley basketball. And I know you played for Coach Staley. He's a longtime friend of mine. His brother, Jim, and I were actually college teammates at Ohio State. So I know the Staley family very well. But tell me a little bit about the influence that Joe Staley has had on you and your coaching style and what you take to your kids now.
Yeah, I mean, I think growing up, playing in the CJ Eagle feeder system even before high school, and then getting to high school, defense is effort. Being able to play hard and really it's just effort. It's more will over the skill. I think our kids really bought into that, and just playing extremely hard defensively. It's going to be 95% to maybe closer to 100% man to man, defense, and really sit down and guard, be able to guard your man, kind of mano a mano a little bit from a one-on-one standpoint, but then also team to team, all five guys being connected defensively out there, being a great help side, being able to really play a great team defensive game is obviously always our goal. So I think CJ had a big, influence, Coach Staley and CJ, and Coach Staley would tell you, Coach Staley would tell you that I like to shoot a lot when I was in high school. I probably could have been better defensively, but I tell you what happened was I got to college and then I had no choice but to guard, and I got much better defensively in college than I probably was in high school. But I was able to shoot the basketball pretty good, so it helped me out there in high school. But I think I tried. I think as you get older, it's like, man, I really have to be pretty damn good defensively to stay on the floor here at Ohio Dominican. So I think it definitely had a positive influence on me, and my part of my coaching philosophy kind of pulled from different experiences, from high school, from college, and then also coaching with Jerry Francis when I was an assistant at Pickerington Central. It kind of create, you kind of develop your own style, but without a doubt, Coach Staley defensively, that definitely had a big influence on some of those principles I was raised on, and then I think I've been able to carry those over to our teams over the years at Pickerington Central. And at the end of the day, I think we're, not to get too off topic here, but I think our group of kids and what we've been is more of a little bit of old school type of team. We're going to defend and rebound at an elite level, because those are two things that you can control, I believe. A lot of that is effort. And then we're going to get in transition and share the basketball in transition, try to get some easy baskets, and then we're going to execute and be unselfish in the half court. And we're also going to try to get the ball inside. We're going to try to get the ball inside. We're okay shooting high percentage twos as opposed to a bunch of 3-pointers. I know basketball, what it is today, and we got kids on our team that can shoot the basketball as well, but we want to take good 3-point shots. We don't want to almost overemphasize it. And kids today want to come down and jack threes left and right. And that's just not what we emphasize. We want to get the ball inside. We want to get the ball around the basket. We want to be aggressive. We want to be physical. We want to be tough. We want to be athletic. We don't want to nullify our athleticism and things that we have on our end that are positives by just settling for a bunch of long-range shots.
Coach Kruger of Pickerington Central, our guest, Eric Kruger, and his team defeated defending champion Centerville in the state championship game here on the Press Pros Huddle. You can send us a message on Facebook or on Twitter if you have a question for Coach Kruger. And, we are at Press Pros making our way in Central Ohio, and it didn't take us very long. In fact, the reason we're in Central Ohio is because, as we observed it from afar, Coach, the competition in the OCC and the talent in the OCC, the rivalries. And, I understand a tournament run is fraught with a lot of nerves, the one and done mindset. But I mean, a team like yourself, you guys are accustomed to that. The Pickerington schools, as anybody who's watched athletics in Central Ohio for any length of time knows, high achieving athletic programs at Pick Central and at Pick North. Unbelievable rivalry in the city of Pickerington, and then in your division of the OCC. And I mean, I remember when we looked at the regional field with UA and Westerville South and Gahanna Lincoln and you guys, 3 of the top 5 teams in the state, Blackie, and my thought was, you got to win the state tournament to get to the state tournament. So I'm assuming that prepared you well and would have put you in a situation where when you get to Dayton, you don't fear anybody.
Yeah. I think the Central Ohio region. I mean, Central Ohio, just I guess more or less the Columbus region technically. It was. Yeah, I agree with you. I felt like it was a gauntlet just to get to state. Um, I think it definitely prepared us, and it definitely kind of weathered us throughout the year, but also especially in the tournament. Played some really good teams in the tournament leading up to the state semifinals and the state finals. It's a great league. We had like you mentioned, we had some really good teams, um, just even in the regionals, even in the districts as well. So I think it definitely prepared us for once we got down to Dayton. Um, and I think our schedule, we playing a tough schedule year in and year out. Uh, Steve, Blackledge will tell you, like, we try to play as many good teams as we can to put ourselves in a position to just be more weathered, be
Mm-hmm.
more experienced come those games, and try to put our teams in as many situations that are different too. You got to really, I think, with winning the state title, I think you got to really learn. Uh, you have to win multiple ways. I feel like I think sometimes teams, they might do whatever A, B, and C, but there's a certain style they might win with. But I kind of believe you need to be versatile. You're going to need to win a game, maybe a low scoring game. You're going to need to win a game where you kind of got to get out and the tempo might get going a little bit more than you might even want it to. So I think being versatile and just having that versatility within our schedule and our team, just being able to kind of go through the fire there in our region specifically, I think definitely prepared us. And I think a big positive for us come once we got down to Dayton.
Now, I'm curious, Coach, you would be uniquely qualified to give us the differences and the challenges between defending Sean Jones, who's headed to Marquette, Hannah Lincoln, and Mr. Basketball, Gabe Cupps, who you had to deal with not a lot of prep time in the state championship game. And Gabe, of course, plays for Centerville. Both amazing players. Gabe's headed to Indiana. Sean, as I said, is going to Marquette. But you had to deal with both of them in the regional finals and in the state finals.
Yeah, I mean, both great players. We tried to do what we typically had done all year against great point guards, and just we try to get the ball out of their hands as much as possible. From a ball screen standpoint, we call it blitzing the ball screen. I mean, some call it doubling the ball screen, but our goal is to get it out of their hands as much as we can, and then fly around and rotate and be able to get out to shooters, obviously, with both Gahanna and especially Centerville, who really can shoot the lights out. Both great, really good. I mean, they're great players. I think, but that being said, we didn't want to not be aggressive defensively because that's just not in our nature. We wanted to be who we are defensively and continue to do the things we've done throughout the course of the year defensively. And I think we did have some discussion prior to the state finals games, amongst the coaching staff, and there's different ways you can attack it. Obviously, Centerville shoots the ball at such a high level.
Mm-hmm.
It caused some concern. They're like, well, we want to double the ball screen because they're going to slip the ball screen and fire in threes. I said, let's just be who we are. I don't want to overthink it. I mean, we want to be aggressive. We want to be the aggressor defensively, and also just in general with in any game we play. And we got to make sure we're really rotating and we're there on the catch, and we got to make these guys put it on the floor, make them uncomfortable, and not be able to step into comfortable 3-point shots, which we know how efficient they shoot the ball from three. So we just kind of stuck to who we were. We stuck to who we were in the state final game, just like we would have in game 5 of the season. But yeah, I mean, Sean Jones and Gabe Cupps, I mean, tremendous players. Our goal was to make it hard for them, kind of wear them down, get the ball out of their hands, because they just make so much happen for both of their teams. And we just have a lot of respect for them, obviously.
Sure.
Eric, I'd like to ask you a philosophical question. You've mentioned repeatedly here about physical style of basketball and being aggressive. And over the last 3 weeks, I had contact with a lot of coaches around the state in Southern Ohio, where I grew up, and some in Central Ohio, Northwest Ohio, and over on the eastern part of the state, about the state of the game in terms of physical play. And I don't think there's any question that we've talked about here on this show the last couple of years have been the most physical, demanding, aggressive, rough, to put it in those terms, of any state finals that we have certainly covered. And oddly enough, this week I heard Tim Calishaw on ESPN say that he wasn't interested in watching basketball anymore because it has come to the point where it looks like a rugby match. Tell me a little bit about what you favor, because most of the coaches I've talked to have said, if you got the studs, you want it the way it is. If you're a finesse team, you got kids that are smaller and can shoot, you probably want to lighten it up a little bit. Tell me a little bit about whether you think the game is too far.
Well, I mean, over the years, obviously, the game of basketball has evolved, from, we're going way back here, but all the way to now, 2022. Yeah, I felt like, in the tournament, typically it feels like as the deeper you get in the tournament, the referees do want to let the kids determine the game. They tend to allow a little more physicality, but they still, if things get to a certain level, of course they're going to make the call. But I don't know. It's sometimes it can be a little inconsistent too. I just, with our group of kids, and then I just can continue to encourage them to be aggressive and play physical, based on who we are and our identity. And I think the game of basketball has gotten a little softer. It's so much, and you guys would probably tell me more than I'm telling you, obviously, but that the 3-point shot has completely changed the game over the years, and it's become more and more predicated on being able to knock down a 3-pointer, and it almost becomes a numbers game. Then you get into the analytics and all these all this other stuff, which is all interesting, great stuff. But I feel like it has gone a little too far the other direction. I think I'm not sure what the happy medium is, but the more I think we can push back to have a little bit better balance. We want to highlight kids, their skill and the ability to shoot the basketball, handle the basketball, pass. All those things we want to continue to highlight as much as possible. But we want to be able to guard, and we want to be able to play hard and have play with physicality on the floor as well, because I think that's important too. So I hope I'm answering your question. It's a tough question to answer. I think hopefully we can continue to, which I maybe push back the other direction here and find that balance. And I know that's hard to do, especially with the rules of the game today, and it encourages less of that, unfortunately.
Let me ask
we're not going to go all the way back to the bad boys, but
let me ask the question.
We're not going to go all the way back to that era. So
let me ask in just a little bit more direct terms. Then, is the game just too rough? Because I've had coaches, when I ask it that way, instead of saying, "Give me your philosophical view on the way the evolution of basketball is," the game now just too rough, and most of them will sit there and go, "Yeah, it probably is too rough."
Yeah, I don't think obviously the game is too rough now. I think we need a little more physicality within the game and continuing to, like I said, I know there's probably a happy medium, but I don't know if we'll ever get back to that. But going into a game, whether it's the district finals, the regional finals, or the state finals, as a coach, you'll get a pretty good feel for it at the beginning of the game. And the thing about it, the thing I would say is if your group of kids is playing physical, and they are playing tough, sometimes that can help, dictate the game a little bit. Now, if you go out there and you automatically see the refs are calling it really, really tight, then you got to find a way to, maybe back your kids up a little bit if possible. But that's hard to do, when you play a certain way, and that just makes it tough. But I felt like during the tournament in general, I felt like the referees were willing to let us play. Willing to let us play physical. There was a game or two during the tournament where it was the opposite, and it just seems to be a little inconsistent right now, to be honest with you. And it's almost like, from a referee standpoint, from a high school basketball standpoint, it's almost there needs to be more discussion on it to get it more consistent, I would say. Even if it is whatever direction. I mean, I know we've kind of pushed towards really emphasizing not being as physical, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Well, Eric, let me wrap up with this. You have a lot of talent coming back, but you lose a couple guys who really were amazing for you. Alex Stiles, of course, Sonny Stiles. Josh Harlan, I thought, made a ton of just big plays and hustle plays for you. But you have the guy everybody knows. Obviously, you have Devin Royal coming back. You got Gavin Headings, gives you a really nice wing, who made a huge athletic play in the transition for you late in your win over Centerville. And you've got some really talented young players. So Gabe Cup's father, Brooke, had the challenge last year of trying to keep a talented returning team focused on repeating. There'll be a lot of talk about, can Pick Central repeat? How do you process that at this point in time? Or since you probably, I don't know, did you get your hands back on your kids yet? Aren't you got a 30-day waiting period? I mean, maybe you haven't even been able to get back with them yet to address that quite yet.
Right. It's I think with kids, obviously, it's you got to continue to challenge them. I think on my end as a head coach, my gut instinct, once we did win the state finals, after a day or two, I kind of felt like, man, I really want to get back to work, to be honest with you. But I had a lot of coaches reach out to me, and they said, and some college coaches, a lot of college coaches as well, said, hey, try to, really, you just never know. You don't know if you have a chance to get back to this and win the state title again or not. So try to soak in the moment, and I try to do that. But I think, honestly, I'm just as hungry now after winning the state title as I was prior to winning the state title in some respects. I think our group of kids, I hope that they feel the same way. I think that, we'll have our work cut out for us. We do have a lot of kids returning, and, I'm excited. It'll be a completely new challenge. It'll be a completely new year. Losing Sonny Stiles and Josh Harlan is very important. I mean, Sonny and Josh are both just big time players for us. Sonny, I felt like was a more than just in the basketball court. He did a lot of things. He's a great leader. He's really a leader on the floor for us, which was really, really important. Same with Josh Harlan being a senior. I felt like those guys, from a leadership standpoint, are really key. Now we've got a group of kids that are returning that we'll have to ask more from a leadership standpoint. As far as having an opportunity to get back and have another great run this upcoming year, it still comes down to just getting back in the gym and working hard. I mean, it sounds basic, and that's really what it is. I think this group of kids, one thing I would say about them, I think that I hope carries forward in the next year is the team chemistry, the togetherness they have, being connected as a group, and really enjoying playing for each other, playing for their brother. They're playing for their teammate. I think that stuff really matters. And I know this group of kids definitely do. They definitely feel that way. I think they really enjoy playing as a team, and that goes a lot farther than X's and O's sometimes. I think
Sure.
I had a college coach, Coach Smart, Coach Shaka Smart, tell me, he's like, you get here and you get later in the postseason, and as a head coach and a college coach, and he's just talking about coaches in general, you're worried about X's and O's and what can we do here, philosophically, what are we going to do offensively, defensively? He's like, that's all very important. He's like, but don't lose sight of the fact that team being connected, getting together for a team meal, doing things off the floor, being connected in the locker room, that's equally as important come the tournament. That continuity and cohesiveness is really key. I just hope, I hope our group of kids can come back with that same hunger next year and continue to play for each other. And the challenge to them is let's do something at the highest level in Ohio high school basketball at the Division I level that has not been done in, I would assume, a long time. I mean, I'm not 100% sure the last Division I team to go back to back. I couldn't even tell you. I don't know. I know there has been. I know Moeller. Did Moeller just do it recently or no?
I think Moeller just did it fairly recently, but it is not done very often. You are right.
It's not. I was gonna say prior to Moeller, though, I can't think of anyone prior to Moeller off the top of my head. So it's
not at the D1, not at the D1 level.
Yeah, and you guys know all the great programs and great coaches and great players in the state of Ohio for basketball at the high school level. So it'd be a challenge of the utmost. It'd be the biggest challenge ever. But I think challenging the kids with that opportunity to do something special is something to really emphasize with them. I think as I get, we have a couple more weeks here before our dead period even ends. But once we're able to get back together, then I think that'll be the first thing we talk about. What can we do to do this again? And it's going to be 100 times harder this second time around, probably. It's going to be it would take something incredible. So, but it's I tell the group of kids and I tell our coaching staff, I said that, in life to do something special together as a team is rare. Especially as a collective group, you're gonna have a lot of special things that happen to you individually throughout your life. I'm in a hospital right now at Mount Carmel East, and we just gave birth to our newest family member yesterday, which is special thing, right? Individually, and for me as a father, first boy in the family, and then my wife is upstairs, and it's obviously special. And I tell the kids, I say, there's going to be special things you do, within your professional career, individually in sports, as a family. But to do something special to collectively as a group is very rare. So I think we'll definitely talk a lot about that going into next year. And now that we've done that one time, can we do it again? And what do we got to do it again? And then you kind of just get your goals together and you set out the plan and you get to work. So I'm just anxious to get back to work, to be honest with you.
Eric,
but it has been fun, but I'm anxious to get back to work.
Eric, let me wrap this up by saying this to you. I'm pleased for you as a young coach because I know dozens and dozens of Hall of Fame coaches who've won 300, 400, even 500 games and never won a state title.
Yeah, it's a blessing. It's a great accomplishment. I'm definitely grateful and I'm just thankful that we were able to do something special. And I know there's a lot of great coaches, like you said, have not had a chance to experience that, and definitely something I don't take for granted.
Well,
what's your son's name, Eric?
What's that?
What's your son's name?
Caden Robert Kruger. Yeah.
All right.
Not Joe.
No, not Joe.
And by the way,
I love Coach Staley, but I don't know if I love him that much.
And let me share. Let me share this with you. Nobody knows how to wind down after a big game better than Joe does too. So I hope he shared some of that with you.
That is true. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah.
All right.
I actually saw Jim after the game. Talked to him. Yeah.
All right. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, Eric. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Congratulations
thanks a lot for having me
on your
Appreciate
son.
it. Have a good one, guys.
You too. You too. There you go. Eric Kruger, head coach at Pick Central. And wow, boy, I tell you what, he has a very understanding wife to allow him to take a little time away from the birth of their son to come and join us here on the Huddle. So we appreciate that very much. He's right. I hadn't thought about that too much until he mentioned it, but they really don't shoot a lot of threes. They made 3 threes in the state championship game and only shot 8. By contrast, Centerville shot 23. So they shot 3 times as many as Pick Central. But when you have, Sonny, the thing that I remember about that game is you telling me how strong Devin Royal is. And you had the perspective of being down on a baseline with your camera shooting the pictures.
The rim, yeah.
And you were like, man, this young man is really strong.
Looks like a headstone under there. I mean, you think about athletes, and I can think of a half a dozen over the last decade or so that you look at and you say, man, that it would be awfully tough for him to get injured because of the way he's put together. And, Devin Royal is certainly in that category of a Seth Lonsway or a Ronnie Dawson or people like that come to my mind, and certainly Sonny Styles for that matter. So, they were he's very big and strong, and man, what an asset to come back and build around for 2023.
Can you imagine if Alex Styles wasn't going early to Ohio State, they had him and Royal coming back?
Yeah.
Oh, whew.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's quickly
be on them.
Let's quickly get to the national championship game. I said last night, Hubert Davis went from John Wooden at halftime to Guy Lewis at the end of the game. Like, how do you blow a 15-point lead in 6 minutes against Kansas? That was crazy. So I wanted Duke to win it. They couldn't win it, so I didn't really care in the championship game. But it was close. Went down to the end. Carolina got a 3 off and didn't draw any iron. So any quick thoughts on the championship game?
I watched it in the first half, and I thought the thing that came to my mind, I want to see what, and you can't know what they say, but I want to see what kind of correction and what Bill Self says at halftime, because they were getting blown out. I mean, they were getting smoked. They were embarrassed by their fact that they didn't get back in transition. Frankly, I thought they looked lazy, lethargic on defense. No help side in a lot of situations. Their fundamentals looked like they were just in a daze. And somehow, I don't know what he said, but I'm sure he went in and said, this is embarrassing. And look, you got 20 minutes to play and fix your own legacy, because you're going to be remembered for the way you played in the first half. And they came out in the second half and absolutely flipped the switch. And I thought it made it an interesting game. I'm like you. I didn't care who won the thing. I'm long past caring about who wins games. But it was interesting to watch the way they came out and just hammered North Carolina for the first 10 minutes of the second half. And it was funny to me that Hubert Davis didn't seem like he had an answer for that as well. And look, the game, like Coach just said, Eric Kruger just said, has gotten so athletic, and the kids have such skills, and you get a little bit of momentum going for you, and it's hard to shut off that tap.
Yep. Is there a quick summation of Buckeye baseball? They have really struggled here at the start of the season.
Well, I've had numerous people who have asked me. We certainly got a number of emails this week to Press Pros, because they got swept by, I think, a rather pedestrian Nebraska team. Not that Nebraska got well against them. There's no question of that. But coming into that series, Nebraska was like 9-14. And hey, look, Ohio State's a young team, and their youth is really showing up. Now, when I say young, what I mean is what Greg Beals has emphasized more than once. When you lose the amount of competitive baseball that they have due to COVID, where the one season was wiped out altogether. And last year they did come back and they played a Big Ten schedule only. But that means that you lose all those midweek developmental games, like they're playing tonight against Youngstown State, like they played last week against Wright State. You lose those opportunities for young kids to come in, get their feet wet, get some reps, to kind of get the feel of what competition is like at Division I, at the highest level of college baseball. They've lost that for 2 years. Now you're asking those 2 freshman classes that are principally now freshmen and sophomores to come in. They start 2 true freshmen. They start 3 sophomores. All 3 of their starting pitchers are both 2 of them are sophomores. One of them is a junior, I think, or maybe even a redshirt junior that hasn't really pitched in Wyatt Lawn Car. You're asking those guys to get acclimated against supreme competition. Now, I know there's people who say to me, well, it wasn't that way when Bob Todd played, and it wasn't that way when back in the day when Marty was there or Dick Finn and you played. And I'm going to tell you, the baseball talent now is far superior to what it was when Bob Todd played and when it was when I played for Marty Carreau, because I never saw 98 miles per hour in a college pitcher. You see it now. There's 2 or 3 guys at Ohio State that throw it that hard, and every team has somebody on their pitching staff that throws that hard. So it's a whole different ball game. These kids are having to learn through on-the-job training. They're going to get better, and the season's young. They are, I think, 8-15 or something like that. They're 23 games in. They're about a third of the way through their schedule. So they're going to get better. They have to get better. And by the way, if you look around at the standings, there's a lot of teams in the same boat. Michigan State's coming in this week. They've been underperforming. Minnesota, Indiana, who's been a true blue blood of Big Ten baseball for better than a decade in that situation. Illinois, there's a lot of people feel the same way as Ohio State.
Thad Matta's back in coaching at Butler. Good for him. Tanner Holden transfers from Wright State to Ohio State to take the place of Malachi Branham. I think that's a great get for Ohio State. It obviously hurts Wright State, a kid who scored 37 in their NCAA tournament win. Malachi Branham will stay in the draft. He said he's only going to be in there if he's taken in the first round. He will be taken in the first round. I would not be a bit surprised. I've been thinking about this. I would not be a bit surprised, given that I know how coaches work and that Chris Holtmann has been at Ohio State 5 years, and I think he signed a 7-year deal to start. And, there's all this chatter after the loss to Villanova that they haven't gotten to the Sweet 16. And, is next year, boy, you better get to the Sweet 16 next year. This feels to me like a coming out of the blue contract extension for Chris Holtmann. I have no intel on that. I'm just telling you that my instincts are that there's a contract extension coming for Chris Holtmann as he heads out on the road to recruit again. I don't think Ohio State will allow him to be subjected to the negative recruiting that comes when people say, he's only got 2 years left on his deal. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that.
It could be. It could be. On the other hand, when you talk about is he the right coach for Ohio State, and there's a lot of people questioning now, how long is he going to be there? Seriously, what assurance do you have that there's somebody better out there? There could be. There might be. There always seemingly there's 1 in a million that's out there, the needle in the haystack. But you have no guarantee of him coming to Ohio State and flipping that switch. Look at how many places when Shaka Smart left Virginia Commonwealth, he was an absolute lock to do great things at Texas. Didn't happen. I don't even know where he is now. Where Marquette, someplace else.
Yep.
He's already in the second job. So it is a revolving door, and it takes the right group of kids. It takes the right group of amount of commitment from the institution. There's so many things that go into success. And again, we just talked about it. I'm not sure. I'm like Tim Kalishaw says, it's really, really, really hard to win in basketball now when you could have your head handed to you for shooting a layup.
This is true. Well, we've exhausted our 45-minute budget for the show. We don't want to be on too long, but we certainly appreciate Eric Kruger joining us. Did you have anything Reader Speaks Wise or anything you wanted to say before we get on out of here tonight?
Well, I just touched on a couple of them because there are some people who wrote over the weekend that said, are you guys a little bit hyperbolic about Ohio State baseball? I go back to and I looked at the preview that I wrote before the first game in Florida against Marshall. And I said at the time, this is a team that has to get off to a good start. Now, they won 3 of 4 on that weekend, but they didn't play anybody what I would consider to be in the likes of Michigan State or Michigan or Indiana or people like that they're going to face over the next month. They played Indiana State that's rebuilding. Marshall's rebuilding. The one team there from the West Coast that was very solid, Brigham Young, put it on them pretty good. So, yeah, they needed to get off to a good start, a confident start. They haven't done that, and now they're going to have to scratch and claw and figure it out. Like I said, some OTJ, on-the-job training, and they're going to have to grow up, taking their lumps. And, at this point, you just got to get to 500 first and then see how much better you can get.
Yes, you do. Well, with that, sir, I will bid you a pleasant Tuesday evening. We want to thank our guest, Eric Kruger. Reminder, shop at Lehman's online 24/7, 365, LEHMANS. They are the exclusive, sponsor of the Lowdown. We will put our Huddle video on the front page of the site tomorrow, so you can tell your friends if they want to catch our interview with Eric Kruger and our thoughts on the other issues that we talked about. They can do it there. We appreciate your time. We'll see you out and about at the games that you care about, because if you care about them, we care about them. And I want to end tonight by thanking Josh Sagaster, Brad Gray, and all the outstanding people at Tri-Village as I made my first trip to New Madison last night. Thoroughly enjoyed the boys postseason basketball banquet, a phenomenal season, and was very honored to be there and to speak. And that's what I love about high school sports, a community that comes together behind its team.
I wanted to ask you how the reviews were today in the Greenville Advocate. I'm sure that the
I did not see the West Liberty native, who now is the authoritative voice of Greenville and Darke County now. He did not attend. I think he was offended that I got to speak instead of him. No, I know him too well to say that. But Galen was not there, but Dale Barger was there, and Dale did a great job as master of ceremonies. And a lot of fun. Great meal, great people. Thoroughly enjoyed my time. Thank you to Coach Sagaster and the Tri-Village Patriots. What a program they have there. Undefeated in the JV program the last 2 years.
Hey, look, let's go a couple minutes over here, and I want to add this about. And you and I talked earlier this morning, and you made this comment, and I couldn't agree with you more about communities like New Madison, Ohio, Fort Loramie, Ohio. Pick one. There's hundreds and hundreds of them, and the way they support and what that basketball team and that culture means to their community, and it's passed on. It's like football at Marion Local. If anything, New Madison's bigger as far as a wide place in the road than what Maria Stein, Ohio is. But look, that culture is so important to those people, and they support it. The expectations are high. For every group of kids that come through school, this is what you have to look forward to. We've built this for you to take advantage of and advance to the next standard, the next however good you can become, and however good you can make the program for somebody else to take over at some point and step right in. That means so much to them. And the first thing I asked you was it sold out? And you said,
I said, yes, sir. Packed. Not a place, not an empty seat that I saw.
And by the way, how was the food?
Food was great. Green beans, fried chicken, chocolate brownie was tremendous. I got one bite of my brownie. I brought it home for my daughter, and I was allowed to have one bite. So that was very good.
Yeah, it's not the rubber chicken circuit when you show.
No. It was delicious.
Great. Hospitality's good. And again, good on them. Good for people like that and places like that they have that going for them and to share with kids. And that's why they're good year after year after year.
Yep, no doubt about it. Well, sir, I will see you soon, and we thank everybody for watching the Huddle Show tonight. So everybody have a great evening. We'll see you again next week.
I'll be looking for you in the Advocate tomorrow.